what is that about human nature? Is there some aspect of like the glory you were able to achieve being more important than anything else? There's some aspect of that's greatness, you know?
Yeah, I never pursue glory. So it just came, it came with it, but that was never my goal. I never care for glory.
Were you able to experience like I'm at the height of this thing? Whatever humanity is able to achieve in various things, holy shit, I'm flying.
I felt like no one can touch me. I can destroy people. Yeah.
Prolonged periods of time or just momentarily?
I always knew, from before I got to a black belt, that like I can be great because I used to train with the best in the world. I used to, for many years, and I used to see my progression with and everybody else. So I knew I was getting somewhere. I knew I could be the best, and that was always my goal since very, very young. And I always believed that I could be, and that over the years that kept telling me over and over again because I'm getting better and better faster than everybody else. So I just need to carry on with what I'm doing.
But I think you've said that you wanted to, and maybe you thought you could be the greatest of all time, like at the very beginning, like when you sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, not the greatest of all time because and I never really thought about that. But I thought I'm going to be the best in the world when I sucked. When I sucked.
So, okay, so what is that? What is that? Like that self-belief? Is there a component to that self-belief being a prerequisite?
It's difficult to say because that was a decision, I think. Like, why did I believe that I could be? I can't tell you that because I don't know.
But you think you decided to be?
I decided to be, and I believed I could.
You think there was like a day somewhere when you were young where you're like, you're sitting on a couch eating Cheetos?
I don't think it was a day, like a moment, because for many years I wasn't really training much as a child. I've done I used to train and then stop, done a bit of judo, never stay away from it much, but until, like from 10 to 14, I barely trained jiu-jitsu much. There was no Gracie school near where I used to live. And there was a judo school. I used to go twice a week. I went to a jiu-jitsu tournament. I lost in 5 seconds, left crying. The guy, he pulled me in 5 seconds. Anyway, so when I was 14, I went to the south of Brazil to see my uncle Hillian, to spend summer holidays. I was there for like 4 weeks, I think. And when I got there, my cousin Hollis was living with him. Hollis, like, bigger than me. It was, I think, 4 years older. So I was 14. He was already 17, 18. Purple belt competitor. And I think that was the first time in my life that I felt what it meant to be a Gracie in terms of having a school, teaching, training, living that, jiu-jitsu lifestyle, what a Gracie meant to be. And I've loved that. I was out of shape. My uncle was like, was incentivizing me to lose weight, to train. But you're not training. Why? It's like, you're out of shape. You need to diet. So I used to run every day. I was eating super well. When I start changing. So when I got back to Rio, I was super motivated to follow up, carry on. And he invited me to go back there to live with him. But I couldn't, it was too soon to change schools and everything. My mom said, no, but maybe next year, if you want to go, you can. So I kept that in my mind. Next year, I moved to the south to live with him. I was 15. And it was him, my uncle Hillian, and my uncle Crowlin. They both used to live very close to each other. They used to have their own schools close to each other. So I was with both. And I stayed there for almost a year. I was the youngest in the academy. There was some, blue, purple belts, normal guys, but they're already competing, training ahead of me. And I just joined the group of training I didn't compete while I was there because there was no competition that then. And I wasn't really ready, but it's not about competing, it's more about the training. And I started training every day, start improving. And a year after that, when I came back to Rio, I was already on a mission. I was like, I love this. I'm just carry on training every day with my uncle Carlos Gracie Jr., Gracie Barra. And when I got there, I was training a little bit there before, but I just 14, 15. But when I got there, there was one of the most competitive, one of the biggest jiu-jitsu schools at the time. There was so many high-level world champions, competitors in every single belt. And I've kind of joined in with that. And I've carried on. I don't remember when, but I remember, looking and saying, I'm going to be the best in the world. But I was at the bottom of the stairs. No one really believed me. I didn't shout, to disguise, but, I told a few people, I'm like, I'm going to be the best. And I think, I was just losing, but I've never, ever I've never diverged from that mission, I would say.
Did anyone believe you when you said you could be great?
Nobody.
Did it matter?
Didn't matter. I don't care. I don't need.
Even people that love you?
Everybody. My mom, my dad. I mean, no one in my family thought I was going to be here today. Nobody. Because I just started late. I've never had any start that people, that kid's going to be really good. Yeah. No, I was a chubby kid that didn't barely train. I mean, people used to look at me, he's just another Gracie. There's, one more.
What do you learn from that? Do you think most people lose that self-belief? They quit when everyone around them doesn't believe?
Yeah. I think if those that need approval, yes.
Right, so you shouldn't have approval.
No, I never need approval from anyone. I don't care if you believe me or not, not my problem.
It's tough. I don't need approval, but you're surrounded by people older, wiser, better than you, and they're kind of directly or indirectly saying, you stop being silly, kid.
No one ever told me that because that was not something that I used to say all the time. I maybe say it just very, very few times.
Maybe that's the secret.
Of course. I mean, if you start shouting, then you're just being silly. Then it's not what you really want. Then you're saying that for other reasons. If you say it over and over again, because you shouldn't. I mean, why?
Well, to push back, one of the reasons you might want to say it is to find the right people that believe in you.
Yeah, but not if you say over and over again. Yeah. Then you're just bragging.
Sure.
Because one thing is to say it, but the other one is to do it. Yeah. So it's, you say it once or very few times, but now you have to do it. Saying is not helping you getting there.
Was there sacrifices you had to make?
Everything. That was my priority in life. Everything was secondary.
Like social life,
yeah,
career paths,
yeah, everything.
And as from 14, 15, 16, as you get better and better and better and better, it was just becoming sharper, the focus on this thing.
Yeah, it's just over and over again. It's, it's just training. And I mean, how many times I lost, I have no clue.
So on the mat, you were getting beat up.
I'm getting smashed by everybody. People my age. I was chubby. I was physically weak. I mean, I'm tall, but physically, I'm not physically strong. I'm normally strong for my size, but physically, if you want to measure strength, I'm weak. Because, we can measure strength lifting weights. I'm weak. I don't lift. I lift weight same as people much lighter than me. Everybody my weight lifts heavier weight.
And then people that train with you often talk about how
they think I'm super strong.
Yeah,
because I generate a lot of strength. I can create. I put myself in the right angles, so that I can be strong. I'm not strong, and the only person who I listen to saying that is Comprido, one guy that I fought, Rodrigo Medeiros. Mm-hmm. I fought him a few times. And he's the only one that I heard saying about me that's like, no, Roger's not strong. He's not. He's technical and he can create strength, but he's not strong.
He meant that as a compliment?
Yeah, I think so. No, I think he was honest because
Yeah.
I think he's the only one who could see that.
Yes.
So I think that's a compliment.
So he's technically really strong.
He's
So
good.
you had an incredible match with him.
Yeah.
Is there insight you have about how you went from a person who was not very good, but had a dream, a confident dream, a vision, to somebody that was actually good? Was there something to the practice sessions? Were you getting reps on a specific techniques?
I'd never done anything special because I'm in a gym training equally with everybody else. So I've never did anything on the side different than anybody else. So I was in the school training the exact same way as everybody else.
Well, in terms of schedule, yes, but can you reverse engineer what was going through your mind? Because there's so many different ways to actually mentally approach the same exact training session.
I'm gonna try to beat you.
Okay, so it's in some part it's competitive.
Yeah.
Like at the core of it is I want to be better than these particular people.
You're gonna keep beating me. I'm gonna keep coming back at you.
And to do that,
Over
I
and
have to
over again.
solve problems. I have to
Yeah.
figure out how to do stuff
Yeah.
well.
You catch me once, I'm gonna keep on coming, trying to not get caught in that.
At which point did you develop a game that was basically the famous white belt game of the very basics, the very fundamentals of jiu-jitsu? Like saying, I'm going to beat you.
Never.
With
There was
basics.
never a conscious decision to try to have a basic jiu-jitsu. First, I think there's a big misconception there.
Okay. What's the misconception?
My jiu-jitsu is not
Mr.
basic.
Haji Gracie. It's not, you're right.
It's not basic. It's not old school. I think people, they just don't see that. It's extremely complex in a way that is people, they cannot copy. I teach people, I can teach you the cross-collar choke. But the one thing that people, they don't realize is not the move, is you need to practice the move until you learn. Is the practice over and over again. Like it took me years. When I say years, I'm like years after I was a black belt, I was able to choke people out with a cross-collar choke in the mouth effectively. Years after I got my black belt. So that's something that you learn first day, first week. So I can teach you, it makes no difference. You know the theory, but until you apply it, it will help you, of course. The more details you learn, the more tools you have to practice, but it's still very complex because it's not about the move itself. It's about how can you control the movement of the other person. He's resisting, you're blocking. You cannot predict what he will do, and he's doing a whole bunch of moves to block you. Every single move you do a step of the way because it's a progression of move from beginning to end till I apply the choke. It's a progression of move, and there's not one way to get that. There's many ways because how many ways can you block? You can put your arm in every single angle. We have both arms. You can bridge. So it's dealing with all that. That is the complexity of the position. But that goes for everything. Like every single move, my strong moves, I would say, it took me years developing them. Years. So and you're going to tell me that's basic? So go try and do it. What the other person is defending. That's the thing, because most of the things that I do, I've been doing them for years. And they know that I'm going to do, and I can still get it most of the times. That's the hardest. Is when they know what's coming and you can still do it.
And you said that the way you're able to do that, you just have to do it right.
Yeah.